like to welcome everyone here this afternoon. I'm Kathleen Hooten. I am the president of Commerce ISD School Board. On behalf of the board, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of our guests. I would also like to recognize the school board members who were present today. We have Ann Reel and Dr. Glenda Henderson, and I appreciate y'all being here today. Each year, at this Hall of Honor ceremony, Commerce ISD has the privilege to showcase our great alumni and all of their impressive accomplishments and successes. We are proud to have such a wonderful turnout and recognize our Hall of Honor inductees and their well-deserved inductees today, and recognize them and honor them. We appreciate y'all being here for that, for our lovely turnout for our luncheon. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this lovely luncheon as well as the rest of the homecoming festivities this afternoon. Welcome to Commerce ISD. Go Tigers!
Let us pray. Gracious Father, we are mindful that your word teaches us this is the day that you've made, and you challenge us to rejoice and be glad in it. Father, I thank you for the wisdom that you've given the Foundation Board in selecting these outstanding individuals to honor during this momentous occasion. Father, I pray that we'll always be mindful that your word says, let another person honor you rather than your own lips. Your word teaches us, Father, to give honor to whom honor is due. For those that are being honored on this day, we are grateful that their family and friends have gathered to come and to share this wonderful occasion. As we go into this homecoming celebration, we ask that you would dispatch your angels to protect us from any type of hurt, harm, or danger. This food that is prepared for us, we pray for the nourishment of our bodies. For us in Christ Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Hooten. Thank you, Dr. Hendricks. We're fixing to start eating, but I want to give a little bit of direction here. First of all, the lunch is pork loin. If you have any dietary restrictions, there is a chicken that is available as an alternative. We will be able to have our amazing Commerce Tiger Band play while this is going on, so I hope y'all really enjoy this part, and after everybody's eaten, we'll go ahead and get started with the actual program. Thank you.
options. Really, there are. Like this. There's, well, right here at that, I think, it's all learning that this year, he's learning all the different medications. No one else is sitting. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, no one else is sitting. So there is that's it. That's it. Like ours is like fast. They have wheelers,
If I could get us, let's have one more big round of applause for our Jazz Cats. That was phenomenal. Thank y'all very much. We're fixing to get started, but there's a couple of thank yous I need to do. First, Ms. Gillum, our food service director with Tahar. She's the one that provided all the food, and that was wonderful. I also want to really thank our principals campus in the back with Mr. Brown, who did all our service. You could give them a round of applause. And then there's a couple other people here I really want to recognize. Dr. Trimmel, our assistant superintendent. Would all of our high school, well, all of our administrators, principals, and assistant principals, please come out and stand up if you're still here. We had a lot of them show up and do introductions, so thank y'all very much. This is always one of my favorite days of the year. Being from Commerce, having grown up here, and get to see so many different people get recognized that went through the same things in the same place in the same way that I did. It's a really special occasion. But I really appreciate all of y'all being here, and thank you very much for recognizing these three individuals that have done so much for our community and represented our community so well. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Steve Drummond to do all the recognition at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Alderman. As HR director of a district where we have about 1,650 to 1,700 kids and roughly 275 employees, you come into work every day, you never really know what you're going to get on a given day. But on this day, Homecoming Day, Hall of Honor Day, it's always one of my favorite days of the year because I know I'm going to get the opportunity to recognize excellence. And that's really what we're here for today. Again, it is a privilege to stand before you and get to do this. And this is going to be a special class to me for sure because I've been directly involved with some of these people and gotten to know a little bit more about some of the rest of them. So it's a great Hall of Honor we're putting in this morning. We're going to start with Miss Glenda Henderson. She's a Commerce High School teacher from 1999 to 2020. Ask almost any student who attended Commerce High School during Glenda Henderson's tenure there, and they will tell you she is one of the most caring people they have ever met. Words shared by the person nominating her for this honor include absolute joy, a genuine love for students, and our biggest fan. She touched the lives of many students inside her technology classroom and outside as lead sponsor of the National Honor Society and Student Council. She was chosen as Commerce Independent School District's Secondary Teacher of the Year in 2012 and represented the district in the Region 10 Teacher of the Year program. Other honors include being named Teacher of the Year by the CHS student body in 2016, 2018, and 2019. The senior classes of 2015, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, if you can see the trend there, selected Miss H as the Teacher of the Year. The junior class selected her as their Teacher of the Year in 2021. She was the Commerce Rotary Club Employee of the Year for 2017, and she received the Gene Collins Award for Kindness and Service to CHS in 2013. When asked by a student teacher, how do you know you want to be a teacher? She replied, if you don't love students, you don't need to be a teacher. She says the relationship she built with her students was the greatest reward while teaching. She has built lifelong relationships and she maintains contact with many of her former students. I told myself to stay on the script today, but I just went off. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my personal experiences with Miss Henderson. First day I became principal at Commerce High School, she walked right in the office and said, I just came in to check on you. She said, I just want you to know I've kind of got your day lined up. I've got your announcement folder ready. I've got the kids that are going to come in. We're going to do the announcement. And it was pretty much that way every day. Nearly every day she would say, hey, Mr. D, I've got an idea, that would make you, the school, and the district look really good. I'll do all the work with the kids. It will help the kids. It will help this group of people in the community. Is that okay with you? And I'd pretend I was going to think about it for about 3 seconds, and I'd go, all right, Miss H, go for it. And then the school and myself and the district would get all the credit on Facebook. So in 21 years, personally, she was as good a teacher, employee as I ever had. Now I'm going to get back on the script. As a pastor's wife, Glenda was active in her husband Johnny in the Baptist student ministry in Temple, Kilgore, and Commerce, where he was director. He also served as pastor at First Baptist Church in Commerce and Merritt Baptist Church. She has taught accounting at Kilgore College and was a financial administrator at the First Baptist Church in Commerce before joining Commerce High School. Glenda has 2 sons who graduated from Commerce High School. Matthew, who's here today, he's a teacher and a coach. He's here with his fiancee, Cody Norris, and her girls. Glenda's youngest son, Wesley, and his wife live in Nashville with her grandbabies, where he is a screening producer for the Grand Ole Opry. His wife is an associate marketing manager for Cracker Barrel Old Country Store. Her grandchildren in Tennessee are blessed with her presence every chance that she gets to go to Tennessee. Glenda says since she started teaching at CHS, she never wanted to do anything else, saying students change her life daily. She uses a phrase to describe students and educators at the school, and we can use the same phrase to describe her. She is absolutely the best of the best. Miss H never liked the limelight, and I can't tell you how many times I would say, Miss H, I'm a little bit nervous about doing this today, and she'd go, well, Drum, you got this. So Miss H, you got this.
Don't know if I've got this or not. Yeah, I'm just gonna look at Junebug because. But you know, before I start with the speech or whatever you want to call it, whatever I have, I was sitting here looking around, and I look out across the crowd, and I see students that are now parents. Tony, I didn't say Junebug. When Tony became staff at AC Williams, Drum told us in high school day, he said, now, if you just need to know, Tony is no longer Junebug. So silently later I saw him and I said, I'm gonna apologize to you now. I said, because it ain't gonna work. I said, I will fail and I will call him Junebug. But really, as I look out, I see so many people that have affected my life that I've worked with, and Tony's here, the Christian. She was a student. I see Alice Alderman. Probably without him, when we first moved here, he had me subbing over. He was over when high school was over at the old high school, and I would sub for him, and I got to know him. I was looking a while ago. Well, my kids in the back that are way in the back, and I told Jay he needed to sit up here, Wilson, so I put my eyes on him. I'm better when I'm looking at my kids' eyes instead of my peers. But there are so many kids, it's kind of like the circle of life, it has been. And I look out and I see those Henry's sitting back there, and Hendrix is sitting back there, and her daughter Katie taught with me, and then I taught her granddaughter Kyra. It's just kind of the circle of life. I look at my State Farm family, and they're all over here at this table: Dixie and Sharon and Jared and Tara and Dana and Sierra. Sierra was a 2016 student of mine. Tara was a 2004 student of mine. Dixie, our boss, I taught Brent, her son. It just kind of, like I say, school is family. And that's basically, when you see this, it's kind of, what happens, Jeff is in the back, taught all 3 of his girls. I know I've missed someone, but John was here. John's another one. I don't know if John is still here, John McSheffrey, but Coach Brown, his boys, I would just let them live with me if they got tired of living with their daddy. And so they were just, and yeah. And they knew that they could always come. I'll never forget, Sammy and Dodge had never met Johnny. And Johnny was very near death. We weren't sure if he was gonna make it. And I was at the hospital, he came to, and things were getting a little better, but Roger brought the boys, they were outside the room. And I went out there, and the boys just wanted, we didn't know if Johnny was gonna make it, but the boys just wanted to meet Johnny. And so I told him, I said, come on in. I said, he's out. But Roger brought those boys because those boys wanted to come and see and meet Johnny. You know, we didn't know if he was going to make it, but that meant a lot to me. You know, so the circle of life, my family, Ann and Carrie Anderson I've taught with forever, and just the best friend, and real in BFFs for a long time. And so there's so much that happens when I sit down and look at how the circle of life just kind of keeps going. So to start, what I wanted to say, I'm really shocked that I would even be considered for this, and I am very humbled that I would even be considered. I've attended the Hall of Honor every year for years and years, and I do what Heather's doing, and I'm really a little more comfortable over there because my news crew class would come and we would video, and then I would burn the DVDs to the recipients, and so that was, I'm a little more comfortable over there with Heather. But when I received the information, I also looked at the envelope and I thought, well, maybe it's somebody else's name that came to my address or something, and so I even looked at that. But in all honesty, I would have never imagined even being considered in the same category with some of the people that have received this honor before. And as a teacher, I'm gonna have to read a little bit. But some of those people are like Loretta Kibler. Loretta Kibler made it possible for me to be standing here today. She came up to me one Sunday in church and she said, hey, we'd like to start an accounting class at the high school. Would you be interested? I said, sure. You know, and I was helping out part-time at First Baptist with their financial stuff. So she and Trish King hired me. They took a chance on me, and I completed 21 years there at Commerce High School. Mary Hendricks is a lady that she could ask me to do something for her, and I'd jump anytime, you know. She and Gary were, as I said earlier, meant so much to me and to Johnny. And then, as I said, I got to teach Kyra, and then got to teach with Kate. And so there's so many things that happen. I'm thinking, you know, at Moose Fast, it's cool to see like Tony with his family and how things have changed. So, of course, like I said, I had told Jaden in the back to come up so I could see his eyes, you know, and sometimes it's easier. I could pick out a student and I could talk, and it was much more easier for me. But, so I went to the website and I read the qualifications, and this is my message to you. And on the school website, it said, for a teacher to receive this award, they are, and I quote, a teacher that has made a significant impact on students' lives while teaching for CISD. I will have to say to you that my students are the ones who impacted me. To describe my relationship with my students, I would have to start with the word family. Those students I taught for 21 years became my family to me, and as you hear me say a lot, family is absolutely everything. But I must tell you though, everything I'm about to say from my heart would not be possible without God's grace, His love, and His blessings in my life. So there are 3 blessings that God gave me many, many years ago. I think they made me the teacher and the person that I am. And without them, I would be nothing today. They have inspired me, they have encouraged me and loved me, and for that, I'm eternally grateful to them and to God. 2 of those blessings are my sons, Matthew and Wesley. They are my entire world, and they helped me become the teacher I am today. And they allowed me the joy to be their mom. Had a lot of practice with them, so maybe that helped me a little bit as a teacher too. But they are my greatest blessings from God, and I've been so honored and proud to be their mom. Matthew, as Drum said, is a 2002 graduate of Commerce High School and presently a coach and teacher for Commerce ISD. He's engaged to Cody. It's up here. Cody was one of my students in the class of 2008. And so, small world, just kind of goes around. I know more about Cody than that does. That's kind of cool. But Cody's daughters are Cadence. Cadence is at the middle school. And Collins is at A.C. Williams. My youngest son is Wesley, as Drum said, and he's a 2006 graduate of CHS, and he's married to my daughter-in-law, Stephanie. They met in college at SFA. They live in Nashville, as he said, and more importantly, they are the parents of my 2 grandchildren. Catherine is 2 and Josh is 1, and a large portion of my heart remains in Tennessee every time I leave there. And as Drummond said, he works for the Grand Ole Opry, and Steph works for the Cracker Barrel Home Store, so their lives are pretty busy. Wes and Steph are about to fly out this weekend out of the country and had this plan since April. I told them, go out of the country, do not worry about not being able to get here. So, but my family, I have to tell you, is absolutely everything to me. So the third blessing that helped me be the teacher I am, the person I am, what I am today, is my husband, Johnny. He was my best friend. We moved to Commerce in '93, and Johnny was the Baptist Student Union Director, as Drum said, and at that time, East Texas State, and then it became Texas A&M University Commerce. Toward the end of ministry, as Drum was saying, he was pastor at First Baptist and at Merritt. And he was probably my best friend that taught me about life, and this is why. He taught me how to love unconditionally, how to persevere, and push forward every day. Days were hard for him, but most of all, he led by example and taught me how to love and trust God and walk in faith every day. Johnny was loved by all, and the boys and I lost him in 2019 after many years of health issues. But he believed, as I do, that family is absolutely everything. And I know today, he's probably sitting around here, my angel sitting somewhere in a rafter or somewhere, laughing because I'm having to speak before peers, because he knew that was not something I did. That was his territory. So I say to you, why did I choose to be a teacher? Well, I saw the love for education in students as I watched my in-laws, Johnny and Evelyn Henderson, teach and coach students their entire lives. They led by example. Now, when I started teaching at Commerce High School, there was no script on how to teach students, how to reach students, how to love students, and how to impact their lives when I started teaching. But I knew I wanted to make a difference in their lives as a teacher years ago. So, years ago, I learned this from my mom, early. My mom told me one time, she said, I always thought, you'll be a nurse or you'll be a teacher one day. I said, think so? And she said, yes. She was my hero in my life. She taught me, my 2 brothers, and my 2 sisters what the true meaning of family is all about. She led by example with unconditional love. We didn't have much, but there was a lot of love and still is today, even though she's gone. And she's probably hanging out with Johnny somewhere in there too. But she made family and my home happy, inviting, peaceful, loving, forgiving, and created an atmosphere of love filled with laughter and joy. So how does my mom and my family fit into the picture of impacting students? Well, the kids I taught for 21 years at CHS became that to me, family. When they came into my classroom every morning, I wanted them to feel loved, accepted, safe, and welcomed. I always wanted to find ways to impact their lives and strive to lead them by example. There wasn't any other way to raise my students for 21 years, except by the way my mom raised me, my brothers and sisters, that she would have expected nothing less. So the best part of my classroom family was that I learned more from them than they learned from me, and they taught me something every day. Sometimes they taught me a little too much. But I learned not all students, most of all, that entered my classroom had breakfast like my sons did that morning, or slept in a nice warm bed as well. I learned the good and bad and hard things in my kids' lives every day. They taught me how to love unconditionally, just as my mom did. So those students should be up here with me because they impacted my life so much, and as my classroom family made me a better person every day. I was always a firm believer that if you establish a relationship with the kids first, Let them know you love them for who they are. Not necessarily for what they're doing at the moment. Love them unconditionally, then they'll dance for you anytime you want to. But I always know that it takes a village, and what a blessing to have been able to teach with and work for. You made me lose my place, Drum. Some of the most outstanding teachers and administrators ever, like Steve Drummond, Roger Left, Trish King, Bertie Montgomery, Blake Cooper, Charlie Alderman, and so many, many teachers at Commerce High School that taught me, as well as these people I named, how to be a better teacher every day. I've had many student teachers, and one asked me one time, Miss H, how do you really know if you want to be a teacher? My reply to Brian was, if you don't love students, then you don't need to be in a classroom teaching them. I told him it's not a job, it's a passion, and it is a calling. Brian still teaches and coaches at Barbers Hill near Houston, and I still stay in contact with him, and many others I've had the privilege of mentoring. In fact, Brian was on Facebook the other night and replied to a post where he and Katie, his wife, were feeding the football team at his house. I was showing Mr. Alderman just then. Brian just sent me a text saying, Ms. H, I'm thinking about you today. And so I just got that right before I came up here. So my students, everyone made me the teacher I became. They are the ones who changed my life for the better and impacted my life every day. The memories I have with my students will be memories I will always cherish. I still hear I hear from them, I see them. I keep a letter of recommendation on my desktop on my computer because I still sent one just to Kyra the other day because I think she's applying out here or applying somewhere. I was so blessed to be a part of the CISD CHS family for 21 years. And God blessed me so much and allowed me to work with absolutely the best of the best. So, thank you so much for the nomination, Mr. Alderman, the committee. I am so humbled, honored, and proud that I would even be considered. God has been so good to me. And I owe him all the praise and glory for allowing me to walk the journey as a teacher at Commerce High School. Thank you, and as Mr. Drummond always says, go Tigers.
Before I move on to our next honoree, I want to introduce a couple of people that overlooked, and I had them written down, but it happens. First of all, I'd like to start with Miss Ludonna Smithers. She kind of puts this whole shindig together, so if y'all would give Miss Smithers a round of applause. I'd also like to recognize Miss Kilgore right there in the middle. She's the one doing all the videotaping. You'll see all her stuff on social media. Also in the very back, Miss Seal, my right hand, her and Miss Bates put this room together a couple days ago when I was gone. And Tiffany Harrison, she really, you could tell she was riding herd on Mr. Brown's principal counsel, and I know he wouldn't mind me saying that, so thank you, Miss Harrison, for helping as well. Kids were amazing. And having said all that, we'll move on to our next honoree, and he's over here to my left, Mr. Anthony Henry, class of 1986. Committed, principled, a servant leader. These are just a few of the words that describe our next Hall of Honor inductee, Anthony Henry. A lifelong Commerce resident, Anthony attended, it's hard for me to call Mr. Henry Anthony, but I'm going to try. Anthony attended North School until the 5th grade when he enrolled in commerce schools. In high school, he participated in basketball and track. He said the one memory that stands out of his time at Commerce High School one of his strongest memories was Mr. Steve Scroggins' government class. Anthony said in Mr. Scroggins' class, he developed a drive to pursue participating in politics, which has led him to serve on the Parks and Recreation Board and now the Commerce City Council, where he is currently Mayor Pro Tem. His leadership is also felt in his role as a deacon at Mount Moriah Temple Baptist Church and as manager of O'Reilly Auto Parts, where he has worked for 25 years. I go into O'Reilly Auto Parts on a regular basis because as an educator, sometimes I might not be driving the best car. And the first time I walked in there, Mr. Henry made me feel like I was the only person in the store. And it's been that way every time I've been in there, except the time Mr. Alvis Alderman brought a battery in, and then Mr. Henry forgot who I was all of a sudden. So I guess that goes to show you where Mr. Alvis Alderman stands with Mr. Anthony Henry. But anyway, Mr. Henry is an active leader of young men during monthly conferences held at the church. He enjoyed being a youth coach and referee where he participated in basketball, football, baseball, and softball. He said, I've had the opportunity to mentor several kids in our community, and watching them mature into adults has been an absolutely humbling experience. Another hallmark of Anthony's success is his family. His wife of 34 years, Rolanda, is a 1988 graduate of Commerce High School. His son, Anthony Tony Henry, who I fought a personal district battle to stop calling him Junebug. And I've attained about 75% success. Currently our middle school dean of students does a great job over there. You can tell in Tony the personality of his daddy, calm under fire. His daughter Christian is a 2012 CHS graduate and is awarded her doctoral degree in August. He has 5 siblings who attended Commerce High School. His sister, Cherise, was a 2016 Hall of Honor inductee. And I will also say about Tony, and I've spoke with Mr. Henry about this a second ago. Tony has provided him with something to do for the rest of his life because he has 3 grandboys. And there'll be a game 2 or 3 days a week for the rest of Mr. Henry's life. And I know he's fired up about that. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce to our Hall of Honor wall, Mr. Anthony Henry.
Thank you. First of all, giving honor to God, first of all. Without him, none of this is possible. To my family, my wife of 34, about to be 35 years, November the 12th at 6 o'clock. Love you. You are my backbone.
Yes.
My children, I'm proud. I'm a proud father. They have done everything we have laid in front of them. So I'm very proud. My dad and my stepmom, you have been the foundation that I needed to continue moving forward. And to my mother, who is not with me, she would be giddy to have not 1, but 2 in the Hall of Honor. The staff, school board, many battles on the basketball court. Lots of fun. Thank you for this honor. Mr. Alderman, you are the Alderman, but that's the GOAT. So many memories in this room that I can't name, I can't number. Just so many memories. Matt worked for me, became close friends. I was close friends with his father. So many family members here, so many teachers, so many lessons learned over the years. Coach Davidson back there, we grew up. I'm his underclassman, let's put it that way. So this is more like a family reunion to me, if you will. But I have to tell a story or two about my time at Commerce. And it has to go into, well, I'll just go into it. Miss Shepherd was one of the first ones that had to lift me up, if you will. She had to get me corrected. in the 5th grade at Norris. Then it was Coach Gray in the middle school. Then it was Mr. Williams, who had a very strong right arm. Then Mr. Champion. But when I got to high school, you know, I had it all figured out. You know, I got this covered. You know, I had a couple of get right licks, you know. Then I go to school with the GOAT, Mr. Alden, your dad. I did something. I told my dad, I got a story for you, and you probably forgot it, but you don't remember it. Even Mr. Jones, he got me a couple times too. I got a lot. I did something in Miss Champion class. I don't remember what it was. If I did, I wouldn't tell you. But it was bad enough to where it led up to me going to visit Mr. Wilson and then Mr. Alden. That's never good when you go to Mr. Wilson's office and he refers you to Mr. Alden's office. Never good. I'm mentally prepared because I've already been primed for it, okay? So, I go to Mr. Alden's office and sit down, and Mr. Alden says, give me 1 second. He played this so good, y'all. I'm serious. He played this very well. This was perfect. He left me right there to just sort of think about what was about to happen. The tiger's eyes were there. Now, if you don't know what the tiger's eyes are, notice that Miss Henderson spoke with my son, and Mr. Drummond spoke with my son here. He's over at the middle school. I don't know why Mr. Alden wanted to make sure that that picture is on my son's wall now. It's there now. But nevertheless, red, green, orange, black, Mr. Alden. 4 colors of the tiger's eyes, I remember. Because it's 4 stages, and I'll explain that to you. Mr. Alden went down the hall. When he came back, there was some laughter. One voice in that laughter was very familiar. That voice was from home. That was my dad. One thing you know, we were taught, it was 6 of us. There's one thing we were taught: don't make me have to come to the school. And do not make me have to come to school at lunch. Because that's when he's gonna watch his stories. He has to see all my children, that's his out. So, unfortunately, I disturbed that because now Mr. Alden has strategically got my daddy at the school at 11:45, 15 minutes before 12 o'clock, before all my children come home. I'm in trouble. They walk in, you know, I'm like, this is not gonna be good. This is not gonna be your regular just pop and go and everything's gonna be fine. It's not gonna be good. They sit down. Mr. Alderman has this grin on his face that you would not believe. And he just looked at Daddy and he said, would you like to go first? And then Dad looked at him and said, no, you go right ahead. And Mr. Alderman looked at me and he said, don't mind if I do. My daddy didn't have to come back to the school. That was the last time that I had that issue. And the red, green, orange, and black, y'all remember that? Red, green, orange, and black. Red is the anticipation of what's about to happen. I'm looking at the tiger's eyes now. The anticipation of what's about to happen. Green is the pastor behind the tiger because you don't, when it's about to happen, you really can't focus on the tiger anymore. Orange is when it happens, and black means you're happy it's over. They both got it that day. What that taught me was the relationship between parents and administrators. It taught me that my principal does not have a problem picking up a phone and calling my dad and said, hey, I need your help getting him on track. I'm standing here because they got me on track. I didn't go outside my focus. I was outside the focus, but they got me back where I needed to be. Not only that, in my years in commerce, so many memories. I can't put it in 10 minutes, I can't put it in 30 minutes, it'd be a lifetime. But it's all good memories. But I was one that, like my sister, she liked acting. Everybody knows that. So we both had Miss Bass. I was the Lincoln Douglas debate, though. I wanted to be the one to win. I wanted to argue with people. Miss Bass knew this. She put me as a junior. As a junior. She decided that she's gonna put me in the Lincoln Douglas debate in class against Cindy Kibler. Now, if y'all don't know Miss Kibler, Loretta Kibler, this is her oldest daughter, the quietest, smartest girl in her class, my opinion. Okay, Lincoln Douglas debate. Okay, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna beat it. So I get out there. Pat Brown, rest his soul, helped me write my opening statement. Nailed it. Got it. Boom. I'm getting Cindy today if nobody else ever gets her. I'm gonna beat her at this. Opening statement, I got her. She got her opening statement, everything's good. We go into cross-examination. I deferred. So I'm gonna let you go first. She whooped my butt. She never raised her voice, ever. But when she went into the cross-examination, she started asking me questions and I couldn't answer them right then. And she's, tell me now, what did you get your evidence? Just on and on and on. And I was like, whoa. Ms. Bass told me at that point, she said, that's when your argument has to be strong and you have to be sure in your evidence. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get into politics. That's the first reason, because I'm still learning myself. And that last one would be Mr. Scroggins. Mr. Scroggins, he had all my family, the whole family. And when he made us make a country, and I made the country Skip Trone, named after my dad's nickname, Skip Trone. This is gonna be the greatest country, blah, 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 blah. We got this, we have a strong army, blah, 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 blah. And when I got it all set up, it's the best grade I made in high school. He said, you can go somewhere with this. You really like this, I'm digging this. That's what drove me further into wanting to be into politics. I didn't understand it at that point. I got a lot of knowledge from people like Charles Elliott and people in the community and people that were involved already. So to sum this all up, I have a legacy. 1, 2, 3. Thanks to 1, 2. My son and my daughter-in-law got me 3 boys over here that are gonna keep pushing, learning, going the political route. My daughter's gonna keep us out of trouble working on our minds. And there's a book that I read, and I've got my son reading now, and it's titled As a Man Thinketh. It's wrote by James Allen, wrote in the early 1900s. And what this book, just to sum it up, what this book talks about is, first 3 points: the identity of self, what you're going to do when you find identity in yourself to be productive, because you will produce, whether it's positive or negative, you will produce. In which direction do you choose to go? And thirdly, and finally, how do people perceive you after you produce? When I got that letter in the mail about a couple of months ago, saying that I was going to be inducted, that was my perception. That was the perception of the others, of me, the person I've become, the person I try to strive to be, the family man I am, the Christian that I am. That's what I got from this. And I thank each and every last one of you for even putting my name in the hat. I thought when I opened the letter, I was going to be asked to be on a board or something. You know, but to open it up, I just sit there and wow that that I was going to be a part of it. Ms. Peak, how was that? Ms. Peak makes sure that my diction is correct, my adjectives and verbs are spoken correctly. So I have to do it right. Thank y'all so much.
You got smart enough, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. Next, we're going to move to what I believe, since I've been doing this for 8, 9, 10 years, is going to be the youngest member of our Hall of Honor that I've ever been around that's been inducted. And I'm just going to tell a little story. I've never laid eyes on Mr. Winston in my life, but I was up by the front door, and when he got out of his car, I knew it was him. He and his wife, it could have been Jay-Z and Beyonce and Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. I'm like, we never see people look that good roll up in here. I mean, I was amazed. I turned around, I go, wow, it's going to be tough sitting at the same table with this guy. Well, I'm sorry, I'll give you a hard time, but I really felt that way when you walked up. But starting out as an outstanding student and athlete at Commerce High School, P.J. Winston is now a special agent for the Drug Enforcement Administration in Columbia. So everybody better be on the up and up in here. P.J. excelled in all 4 sports offered at the campus: football, basketball, baseball, and track. He received numerous awards such as All-State, District, and Regional honors. In 1996, he threw 2 back-to-back no-hitters to advance the Tigers to the baseball playoffs. The 1997 football team went to state but lost the final game to its perennial rival, Sealy, 28-21. I was at the junior high football game last night talking to Coach Davidson, and he said about PJ, he was a great athlete, but he worked himself into being a great football player. He also said he was one of 2 to 3 of the classiest young men he had ever been around. And Jeff Davidson doesn't give a whole lot of compliments. So that meant a lot for him to say that PJ was that classy. He said he always concentrated not only on his athletics, but his grades. PJ showed leadership as class president his senior year. He was named 1998 Homecoming and Prom King and selected for induction into the National Honor Society. After receiving a scholarship to New Mexico State University, he started as wide receiver for 3 years, earning all conference honors and leading the Aggies in receiving. He was selected to the 2003 All-Humanitarian team. He continued his career in football and professional leagues for 7 years, including the American Football League, Canadian Football League, and the American Football League for 2. PJ says his goal is to be a role model for the Commerce community, influencing the youth to make good choices and always give back to the next generation of kids. Through hard work and sacrifice, he has continued to break boundaries to promote positivity for everyone. He has been diligent in serving local communities and shelters wherever he may live, as well as being an active member of the church. Speaking to underprivileged youth is a priority, with his message being that hard work, sacrifice, good choices, and dedication will produce success. PJ has been married to Delilah Winston for 18 years. I don't know how, because they both look 25. And they have an 8-year-old daughter named Carter. Please join me in honoring PJ Winston as the newest member of the Commerce ISD Hall of Honor. Mr. PJ Winston.
How you guys doing today? Well, Tony, I'm gonna start off first by saying one thing you said, because I don't want to forget it. You were talking about those, in Spanish we call them pow-pows, spankings. So what you were saying about those spankings, working for the DA, a lot of times what we say in our office is that we need to bring those back in school. So I know that's not possible, but I'm just something that I wanted to say. But I do want to start off by saying thank you guys, thank the board, thank everyone here for this opportunity. I know it comes with hard work, a lot of diligence. This community has been tremendous for my success. First off, I want to say thank God, because without him, I know it sounds like a common theme that you guys said before, nothing's possible. Dealing with the world of drugs, if you don't believe in God, you will. You will. I don't want to make this about a scripture or anything, but without him, none of this is possible. The second, so I didn't want to write a speech. I'm normally the person that shoots from the hip. I talked to my uncle, Billy Relford, and I said, hey man, who is this crowd? What do you normally say? I'll just get up there and shoot for the hip. Well, that sounds good, but then I talked to my wife and she said, you need to put like some bullets down, because you'll talk for 30 minutes, you know? So make sure you stay on script. So I got some bullets and a couple stories here, but we'll try to stay on script. But the I want to thank CISD just for the foundation, because this place is amazing. My daughter, she goes to school overseas. Stand up, baby. She loves being. I haven't even got to you yet, but she goes to school overseas, and a lot of times I'm always telling her about our experience in commerce. When I talk about commerce, people think it's the greatest thing in the world, especially when I went to New Mexico State. They're like, where you from? Commerce? And like, where's that at? You know? And I'm like, it's Dallas. It's by Dallas, you know? And so, but one thing about commerce is, after you meet me, I'll make sure you remember commerce. And that's for a good reason, not for any other reason than just try to be respectful, try to love people. The same thing that the other members have mentioned while they were up here. The coaches and teachers, I want to thank all the coaches and teachers in commerce, especially Coach Davidson. Man, he coached us since we were in 7th grade. We never lost. But Coach Davidson is that kind of person that he loves the kids. He's there for the right reason. Just like all the information that you guys are saying up here, that's echoed through him. He coached us all the way to high school. The amount of hours that we spent with Coach Davidson, there was times where we would play a baseball game and we're changing the car going to a track meet. So it was, the way that he influenced my life was huge. Miss Williams. So,
It's okay. It's okay.
the thank you is the hardest part of this. Miss Williams she's huge. Not only about today, but just in life in general. We went to pre-first, and you guys don't even have it anymore. And I think Miss Williams said, I couldn't hear her right, but me and Landon was her favorite students. So, and if you guys don't know about pre-first, I'm not supposed to be here. So pre-first for the kids that didn't do right in kindergarten, they put us all in this little class. But and I got emotional about that because Miss Williams tremendously, the growth that she gave us, it wasn't only the class, but it was life lesson. It was the love. We even remember Mr. Williams came in and gave everybody in class $1, and we thought that was the greatest thing in the world. So those things, that's what commerce means to me. This community, those teachers, that impact on life. I never was this emotional until I had a daughter, but Ms. Williams, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I want to give thanks to my in-laws. When I went to New Mexico State, me and my wife been together since college, and so with her, they took me in like they were home. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. So my in-laws, Clara and Elias, they're here. They drove all the way from New Mexico, from Las Cruces, and so their daughter is the reason why we have a daughter, and they have been a tremendous force in our life with the support with our kid. I also want to thank my lifelong friends. Those aren't friends; those are brothers. Josh Godwin, he drove here from Austin, Texas. Deshaun Wilkerson from Dallas. There'll be a couple other guys tonight, but these guys are like brothers. We grew up since, me and Josh have been friends since we were 5 years old. Me and Deshaun met here in this cafeteria in 6th grade. We used to call him Big Tuna because the cafeteria would serve tuna fish and nobody wanted to eat it, and Deshaun, he's big, so he ate everybody's tuna fish. But those are brothers. Those are brothers, Josh, like these guys. I mean, and this is what this journey of life is about. When you have a friend and they say, what time I need to be there? They don't ask any questions. That's what it's about. My family, I want to give special thanks to my mom, holding us down as a single mom. You were at every game, every school function. When I was acting up at this school and you weren't able to show up, my Uncle Billy showed up and gave me one of those things here at the school. And yeah, I went back to class and I was right from then. So, but my mom, she gave us everything, like everything that she could give us as a single mom. I love you for that. Thank you for that. That was a blessing. My wife, my better half of 18 plus 25, but we say 25 years. We've been together for 25 years. Through surgeries, I mean, my goodness, through the academy in Quantico, you've been by me, you've been by my side through this journey. I couldn't thank you anymore. My daughter, you're the reason why I do this. So, thank you so much. I swear to you guys, I'm so tough. Like I don't know why I'm so emotional today, but it's coming out. But these are like all the people along my life that influenced me. And like I said before, it starts with a great foundation. I was talking with Mr. Alderman. Mr. Alderman was my principal until I was a sophomore. And you're right, he's amazing. Sorry. I know you because I'm my uncle, so it's like all this is like family up here. So my uncle that passed, but you're an amazing man. But your dad was a huge influence on us, Mr. Alderman. You guys were amazing at the high school, but that kind of foundation, those kind of people in your life, and I know Coach Sheffrey's gonna have me talk to those kids, and that's the one thing that I want to talk to those kids about is like, it doesn't matter what's going on. And this is for later, this is totally off script. It doesn't really matter what's going on in your life. When you have a coach, a teacher, a janitor, or whoever it is that gives you that support, that's all you need to make it, you know? You're gonna have that support at home, but this commerce is amazing because it's a community. So you have more than just one person. And that's the reason why when I'm in Bogota, Colombia, or San Antonio, Texas, Oakland, California, wherever I'm at, I make sure, I don't say I'm from Dallas because, hey, where you from, Dallas? No, I'm from Commerce. Like, I'm proud of the city, I'm proud of this place, and this is what I want people to know. Like, this is Commerce, Texas. You know, my mom used to tell me, my mom told me there was a story, and we talk about people that are not supposed to be here. My nickname in my neighborhood, you guys probably don't know this, but Anthony knows this, my nickname is Bomber in my neighborhood. And when you get a nickname like that, you're a kid that's very busy. So when I was a kid, my mom used to tell me, Oh, we used to go to the neighbor's house and they look out the peephole and see you guys coming, you and your brother, and they probably just shut the door, you know? And so we were very busy as kids, but it paid off later on. But at the end of the day, the point of that story is that it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And there's a book by T.D. Jakes called Emotion, and in that book, his title says, we call it emotions, right? It's not about where you arrive, because as men, as women, as people, as creatures, we're always traveling. We haven't arrived yet. We're never going to arrive. So just that in itself is something that I always look forward to. When you're always thinking like, I'm not there yet, I'm not there yet, you're never going to arrive. We're going to keep working to get there. The other thing I wanted to talk about was just that Tiger Pride. You know, it's not only a word, but it's something that comes into you as an adult when you're along the way. Coach Davis and them taught us a long time ago, don't ever give up. And there's been plenty of times where I wanted to quit, I wanted to give up, but I realized I got nephews behind me, Jaden, Caden, and Mimi, and all. I have those people behind me that I'm doing this for. So at the end of the day, when my nephews tell me, hey, I want to be in the DEA, oh, don't worry, you're going to be in there, you know? And that's, to me, that's a prideful thing that means that you're doing something right, being a role model. And I'm not perfect, because trust me, there's times where I do want to just get out the shell and maybe do something that you don't want to, but you got to remember the people behind you, and it's a bigger cause. The second thing I want to say is thank the Coach Sheffrey. I talked to him, McSheffrey, I talked to him over the phone a couple times, and even before the season started, he told me, he says, we got some kids, they're turning it around, and they're getting this program going. I can hear it in his voice. So to the board, I think you guys got the right person in place. It seems like he's turning that program around, and he's saying the right things that Coach Lineweaver and Coach Davidson and those guys told us. So it sounds like Coach McSheffrey is turning that program around. So I'm glad you guys have him in place. And one of the things I shared with him was, if you win, that's great. But if you get the community behind you, that's even better. So this place is about a community. And it's not only about the community here, it's about the community in Norris community. It's a family. It's two communities. It's not really two communities, it's one community together. So speaking of that Tiger Pride, one of the stories that I want to talk about was when, and it's a real short story, we lost the 1997 championship. That was a heartbreak. But I'm pretty sure Deshaun and Coach Davis and you guys remember this. We were coming all the way from Houston. We played in the Astrodome, and probably a little bit outside of Greenville, maybe Campbell. And we were all asleep on the bus. All the guys were asleep. We were all tired and crying because we lost the state championship. We went 15 games perfectly and then lost the state championship by, 2 points. I don't remember the losses, but and so as we were coming up to Campbell, we heard these loud sirens screaming and yelling, and everybody jumps up, and we're like, what is that going on? It's the fire truck. The Commerce fire truck is escorting us from Campbell all the way to the field house. And the moms are there, and the parents are there, and the fans are there with the lights on at the field house, and they're honking and yelling. And I thought, like, I didn't realize what it was at the time, and then now I'm like, man, that show you how great it is, because we lost the game, but the support from the community, the parents, the teachers, the fans, everybody was there to show their support even after a loss, So that's that Tiger Pride. Like, even when you don't get it, even when you don't win it, you still have to have that Tiger Pride. Let's see here, and it's through sports. It's through, like, I play sports, and from DEA. One of the things that we always say is that you don't remember, like in sports, no one remembers the stats, the touchdowns, the losses. They remember the memories, the relationships that you build. Even in DEA, we're very competitive. It's almost like a football team, but we're trying to compete the next person with the big cartel member or knock down some drug trafficker. But no one remembers those cases. We remember what kind of person you were. And I know we keep saying that's the same theme as like the love. And it's not really hard. People say, well, PJ, how do you have so much, my Spanish is pretty good and I'm in Colombia, but it's not like the greatest. And they say, well, how do you come with the Colombian counterparts and get it? Because no matter about a language, it's about the person, right? And people realize if you're fake or you're not, right? And if you love someone genuinely, they see that, right? And so that's one of the things I try to tell my daughter is like, just be yourself, love people. You know, we got enough like bad things going on in the world, so try to be a little different. The other thing that I can contribute to the success of my life is diversity, and that has nothing to do with color. It's diversity, getting outside the bubble. Me and Josh talk about this all the time. Is, you know, trying to show our kids the world, right? Trying to get them out, and like it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, outside of Texas or anywhere like that. It could be something. Just go take them to an opera, go do something different. So we try to do something different to get the kids another life. For me, I tell my daughter all the time, for me, I had to play a sport to get out of here, you know? And so I want to share those ideas with her and let her know how to grow. New Mexico State, it was a great time for us. Playing in the different football leagues were amazing. DA was amazing, but it all comes back to here. And commerce is the reason why we are the way we are. And I'm gonna end one last story, and it's a humbling story. And it also shows you, like, no matter how good you are, you could always be better. So we had finished playing, I think it was Dallas Pinkston, I don't know, maybe ran for like 157 yards. First time playing running back as a senior, so Coach Lineweaver decided to move me to running back. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just got the ball and took off running. So I thought I was doing pretty good, and I was like, man, I had 157 yards and like 3 touchdowns, and you know, I was really thinking highly of myself. And so Coach Lineweaver, I think Coach Davis remembered this, he was like, I told you on cut 8 and cut 9, you run there between those tackles. And anybody know anything about that play that we used to run? Coach Lineweaver wanted you to run sideways and up between the tackles, then you could bounce it out. Well, I was like, I got some speed, so I just got the ball and just ran down the sideline. And Coach Lineweaver, he was so upset that I didn't get that part of the play. And then I think the next day in practice, we were running cut 8, cut 9, I bounced outside, and he's like, who's not on offense? Get over there. And he put I literally had 17 people on defense against 11. And he was telling them, they're gonna run the ball over here. And I think Brock and Deshaun and some of the other guys, they loaded up on this side, and they're like, we're gonna hit you, you know? And so I remember I tried to bounce outside, and I ran in between the tackles, and I never forget that play because that was a prime example of just life, right? You think you're doing it good, and then you're like, nope, that's not what I need you to do. And it's also a humbling reminder of God, you know, that's how he keeps you humble as well. So it's those little things that we take from commerce are the moments that we put into our life, and it's amazing how you still apply that to when you become an adult. But I really thank you guys for your time. I'm not gonna talk too much longer. I'm done, but I really appreciate it, and thank you. This is an honor, so appreciate it.
We also have one gentleman today. We were going to honor Mr. Jim Ferris from the CH class of 1978, who I believe had to receive a couple of stints a day or two ago. So we will honor him next year. He will be an inductee next year. Again, on behalf of Mr. Alderman, Dr. Trummel, our board, everyone who helped put this thing together, thanks to everyone that attended today. It was a great ceremony. You can see we put in 3 great people. We hope to see you today at the pep rally at CHS. I think that'll be around 2:45. And in our homecoming game tonight at 7 p.m. versus Bonham at the university. Thank everyone for coming.